Critical thinking and problem solving are two terms that tend to get thrown around in day-to-day conversation, in interviews as transferable skills, and even in classrooms. But what do they mean? During this video, I will define critical thinking and problem solving, discuss why they are important, and provide ways to enhance critical thinking skills. Before we move on, take a moment to reflect on what those terms mean to you. How would you define them in your own words? Also, what are some key critical thinking skills? Pause the video and take a moment to come up with those answers. Welcome back. Since the definition of problem solving is pretty straightforward, let's start with that one first. In simplest terms, problem solving is defined as the process of finding solutions to difficult or complex issues, or solving a problem. Critical thinking, however, is more complex. Critical thinking is defined as the objective analysis and evaluation of an issue in order to form a judgment. Once one makes a judgment, the judgment influences a decision, which then influences actions taken. Those actions are steps to solve a problem. For the purposes of this video, I will continue to discuss critical thinking as a method of solving a problem. Now that we know what those terms mean, let's also discuss what skills fall under the umbrella of critical thinking. Analysis and evaluation are terms that are in the definition, but we also have inference, observation, interpretation, and metacognition. All of these terms fall under the umbrella of critical thinking, but the list goes on. As you are submitting applications for organizations, jobs, and internships, think of using these terms to illustrate your critical thinking skill set. Now, let's dive deeper into the meaning of the phrase critical thinking. In order to do that, we must understand that there are three components of critical thinking. First, we have quick thinking. This one seems pretty simple, right? Quick thinking means one must have the ability to think and react to a situation in a timely manner. Acting on a situation quickly doesn't help much if it doesn't help solve the problem. So, it is important to note that quick thinking also requires effective action. Next, we have creative thinking. Creativity simply means being able to come up with something new. Creative thinking means looking at something in a new way. It is the very definition of thinking outside the box. Often, creativity in this sense involves what is called lateral thinking, or putting information into a new or different context. Finally, we have analytical thinking. Analytical thinking gives one the ability to solve problems quickly and effectively. It involves a methodical step-by-step approach to thinking that allows you to break down complex problems into single and manageable components. Those steps are known as the critical thinking process. There are 5 steps to the critical thinking process. Not every circumstance requires all 5 steps, and some circumstances require these steps to happen concurrently. Either way, it is important to adapt these steps based on the circumstances you encounter. First, we have inform and describe. During this step, information is clarified. What do you already know? What do you need to know? What outcome are you aiming for? Next, we have discover and explore. During this step, it's time for more information to be gathered. Sometimes we think we already know everything we need to, but oftentimes that is not the case. While discovering and exploring, one must take a closer look and start to be more directed and purposeful in seeking information. Next, we have negotiate and cooperate. During this step, it is important to take the time to understand others' perspectives. Engage in discussions, listen to understand when other members of the team are providing their input, and negotiate until a compromise is reached. Next, we have test and revise. During this step, it's time to weigh the evidence. Ask thought-provoking questions, test out theories and ideas that came up earlier in the process, and revise plans based on those outcomes. Finally, we have integrate and apply. The last step is when all of the ideas must be brought together. Consolidate ideas that have already been discussed, but also be open to articulate new ideas. And finally, put them into practice. So how do you become a better critical thinker? Seek out ideas, go places, do new things, check out a new art exhibit, read new books or articles, engage in thought-provoking discussions. Be different, take action, brainstorm new ideas, go out on a limb. Be flexible. It is important to stay open-minded and ready to change. Ask yourself questions. Is there a problem? What is it? How can this be done better? When is the best time to make a change? Daydream. Really think outside the box. Jump between logical, imaginative, and wild thinking. Remember, not all crazy ideas are bad ideas. Finally, the best way to improve critical thinking skills is through practice. The following combination of letters represents a sentence from which one particular vowel has been removed. Utilizing the 3 components in the 5 steps of critical thinking, figure out what that vowel is and reinsert it 11 times. If you can do this, then you will be able to figure out what the sentence is. Do you know what the vowel is? The vowel is E. Pause here and take a moment to place the E in 11 spots. When you resume the video, the sentence will be revealed. Most problem solvers soon realize the missing letter is E, probably because the word very seems to jump out at them. They work very hard to construct the sentence with very as the first word. Very is not the first word, however. Every is. When conviction and determination prevent us from exploring alternative options, we limit our potential for critical thinking. As you're growing as a student leader, there will be challenges and obstacles you have to face. Don't be afraid to take charge of your own thinking. Think outside the box and face those challenges head on.